Hey, Melissa Meiste here with Nephew Physical Therapy to talk to you today about plantar fasciitis. Now, before we go any further, this video is not designed to fix your plantar fasciitis. Not at all, because I don't claim to be able to fix it through the internet, and certainly not in one visit to our office. But what I wanted to do today was spend a little bit of time explaining what it is and kind of how we think it starts to give you an idea of how I ultimately think it needs to be fixed. Keeping in mind that our idea always is the external fix to an internal problem, not necessarily the best solution. All right, so I was looking on Google. There is 52,900 things that could fix your plantar fasciitis. Thousands and thousands and thousands of things out there, from boots and icing and rolling and massaging and rubbing, and all of that kind of stuff is on there. And I really want to talk about how the anatomy and the way that I understand it, and the way that we look at it here, dictates how we fix a problem. It's kind of that simple. So what I want to do is I'm going to show you a couple of pictures here of the anatomy to give you kind of an overview of the foot, but really how the foot then connects to the whole leg, and ultimately, it's like your angel singing, connects to the glutes. My favorite muscle group, as everybody knows, or at least if you've listened to me once before, you know that that's the truth. All right, so let's show you here. So here on the left of your screen is a basic picture of what the plantar fasciitis is, or what the plantar fascia is. It connects from your heel and then extends over into all of your toes. It is a passive structure, meaning that it's not made to contract necessarily because it's fascia, but fascia surrounds muscles. It's a connecting tissue, and it can definitely get inflamed, which is the very simple definition of plantar fasciitis. Plantar fascia inflamed. Now, here's what I really want to get to. So when you look at the body in the middle picture here, you're going to look from the waist down, and what you see is you've got your glutes, kind of the butt-hip region. You've got your thigh, which has got your quads and your hamstrings. Then you go to your knee joint. Below that, you're going to get the front and the back of the shin, okay? And then you come all the way down here to the tiny foot. Now, here is what I want to point out. We have large muscles, let's say extra large, large, medium, and small. We taper down in size as we get to the end of our extremity. So when we look at that very simple presentation of the anatomy, where should we be the strongest? Well, right here, because they're the biggest muscle groups. What happens when we then get weak here, or as I like to call it, the basement, what happens when we get weak here? Something along the chain, either into the thighs, the knee, or the hip, into the shin. We can talk about that another time, shin splints, those kind of things. All the way down to the tiny muscles and joints of the foot. Something is going to make up for that weakness. Now, let's show you one more picture here before we come back all the way around to your plantar fascia. So this image right here, this shows you what the glutes look like. Now, I love the glutes. I've said this many times. What you need to keep in mind is the glutes are made up of multiple muscle groups, okay, that connect to your hips, to your pelvis, to your undercarriage, to your back, to the whole thing. And they are designed to be strong. They're designed to move, to push you forward, to lift things, all of that great stuff. And so what we see here in this image, right here on the right, is you see your glute muscles. Everybody's familiar with those, right? Gluteus maximus. So that's the big one here. You have the medius, and it's not showing the minimus on this image. But then when you peel those back, look at these great diagonal muscles all through that hip. Those are the ones that we often forget because we need our glutes to work in all different directions. We need to be able to go forward, sideways, rotate, twist, turn, jump, all of that kind of stuff. So what happens is when those go to sleep, or they stop working, or they become a little bit crooked, what can happen is something down that mechanical chain, and I'll show you here again, in that middle image, something down that chain, you will see something else start to break down. And so what we want to keep in mind is, why does somebody develop plantar fasciitis? okay? Is it a local issue or is it a chain issue? And here's one of my favorite analogies I want to tie in here. When somebody is driving a car and the steering wheel starts to shake, do you buy a new steering wheel? No. I know of nobody who buys new steering wheels unless they want something warm and fuzzy or decorative or whatever. The reason our steering wheel is shaking is, well, we may have just ran over railroad tracks or a pothole. Okay, that would be kind of a local small problem. Or is it something bigger than that? Wheel alignment, axles. We had something on our truck once go bad called the pitman arm. I have no idea what it is, but it went bad, and when we rotated our tires, the truck actually got worse. And so we had to replace that. It wasn't necessarily because the tires were bad, or again, going all the way back to that steering wheel. It was because something in that chain wasn't working correctly. And so that's what we really, when we're looking at foot and ankle issues, we really want to take a look at it locally, because locally we do need to address the foot, the ankle, those kind of things, because it might need some TLC and love. But what's going on with that whole chain? Who's failed to do their job? Who's not doing what they're supposed to do? So how do we apply that to everyday life? Well, one of the obvious things that will cause people pain and increase the chance of plantar fasciitis is flip-flops. Because what happens with a flip-flop is you have to over squeeze your toes to keep the flip-flop from falling off. Yes, that's a tongue twister. So when it comes to your choice of summer shoes, you should always have something with a heel strap so that the shoe or the footwear naturally just sticks to your foot and you don't need to use your toes. That would be like driving over the railroad tracks, right? That's a simple, easy fix. The problem comes when we have this chronic long-term pain in the bottom of our feet that doesn't go away. Certainly I can give you tips like untuck your sheets so that your toes aren't pointed. Certainly you can massage the bottom of your foot by rolling on a golf ball or a tennis ball. You certainly can ice it. You certainly can stretch your calves. That's another one. Stretch further up the chain. You can do all those things. What I'm saying though is if you're only focusing on the region of where your pain is, you might be missing the one thing that that's continuing to cause you problems. So keep this in the mind. If you're struggling with plantar fasciitis or somebody else's, one, it's different for every person because everybody's body is different and yet it's very alike. Two, don't take anything that I say today as written in stone because, again, this is coming from the perspective of evaluating people, looking at them in person and going, okay, what do we see going on with you? And lastly, don't accept it. Don't think that it's normal. I wouldn't jump to a cortisone injection. I wouldn't jump to surgery by any means. I would choose good biomechanical, glute strengthening, pelvis leveling physical therapy to address my further down the chain issues in my foot or ankle. So some food for your thought for you today in regards to plantar fasciitis. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat or in the comment section. And if you have anything else, feel free to check out more information about us on nephewpt.com. Until next time, make sure you take time to take care of you.